Hi, everybody. I just wanted to get on real quick because I haven't been on for a while. And I just wanted to do a lock update. Since this is my second lock journey, I wanted to celebrate my 20 months being locked. This is, I don't know where the time went. It's gone so fast. I just can't believe I'm already 20 months locked with this second lock journey. And I just can't believe the growth, how far I've come over the last 20 months. And I really do believe that these set of locks, at this point in time, I'm actually have more length than in my first lock journey. It's just crazy to me. I think maybe a lot of it has to do with the fact that I do take collagen and I take in a lot of protein, and I think that's helped. Also, a lot of water, but it's really taken off. If I can do a 360, you can see the length. And yeah, I'm just amazed at the growth, and it's just, I'm really happy with the size of my locks. The fullness is definitely coming through. That's one of the reasons why I cut off my first set of locks, is I just wasn't getting the fullness, or the grid was all jacked because I had combined my locks, and I just kind of messed up the grid. And otherwise they were very healthy, and I did enjoy them, and I kept them in for 4 years, and they were pretty long. If you go on my YouTube video, I've documented my first lock journey. My YouTube handle is Breaking Bad Goddess, and I've documented my first lock journey, and also this journey as well. And it's just amazing to me, the fullness I got just by putting in more locks. Because the first lock journey, I had reduced and combined my locks from 102 to 57, thinking that it would give me fullness, and no, it didn't. It did the opposite. So keep that in mind. If you want more fullness, that you really have to put more locks on your head than less. Unless, of course, you like fat locks, which I did. I fell for the propaganda of fat, full, juicy locks. I thought, in some way, I thought that would give me the fullness, but it really didn't. It was the opposite. So this time around, I made sure that I went to a professional loctician down in New York City, and I got what I wanted, and it's paying off. She gave me a nice she just gave me a nice set of locks, and they're growing fine. There's no issues. The grid is perfect. So I'm really happy with the results of my locks. I would say, though, something I did notice in the lock community, at least on TikTok, it can be a little toxic. I think that like, I've noticed people rant about how certain individuals take care of their locks. Like, there's certain lock girlies that have an issue with people using rose water, for instance. It's like, I don't know where that comes from. To me, hair is so variable. A lot of things affect how products are going to work on any individual head of hair. So, and a lot of it has to do with porosity, density, lock thickness, lock strand thickness or fineness. So if one, substance doesn't work for, one group of hair, and it doesn't mean it's not going to work for someone else. I mean, there's so many variables. Like, I noticed there was a growing hate for rose water, and it's like, I've used rose water all through my lock journey, even the first one and even the second one that I'm in right now. And it's worked fine for me. I don't know what the hate is about. It's, whatever works for you, right? Even how much you moisturize your hair is become a bone of contention. It's like, look, if you live in Florida and you live in a humid very moisturized environment, you probably don't have to moisturize your hair as much as someone who lives like in the Northeast, like I do, where I have my heater on, I have a pellet stove, it's dry in my house. So I do have to moisturize more than someone who lives in a more humid area or warmer climate. And so those are things you have to consider. There are no, um, at least from my experience, and I've been locked now for almost 5 or 6 years, there are no hard and fast rules when it comes to moisturization or what type of moisture product you use on your hair. A lot of it is like when I was a loose natural, it's trial and error. What works for some lock girlies or men is not going to work for others because there are too many other variables that you have to consider when you have locks. And that was the same as a loose natural. I remember back in the early days as a loose natural, I remember it seemed like every loose natural was using coconut oil, and everybody was raving about coconut oil, coconut oil. When I used it, it made my hair very brittle. It literally dried it out. It felt like hay when I used it. And so I knew for me, that wasn't something that I could use on my hair. But I didn't start hating on people who did use it. I realized very early in my journey that not everything works for everybody. There are no hard and fast rules when it comes to embarking on any hair journey, whether you're locked or a loose natural or whatever. You really is, a lot of this is trial and error. A lot of it is dependent on the environment you're in, your hair density, particularly your hair porosity, because that speaks mostly to how moisture is accepted into your hair strands. I have low porosity hair, so I do have to moisturize a little bit more. I have to squeeze the moisture into my hair because my cuticles lay flat, and so it's very hard for water to kind of penetrate. Sometimes it just slides off, the strands of my hair. So, otherwise with someone else who has high porosity, the water's your hair drinks it up. So that has a lot to do with what's going to work for your hair and what's not going to work for your hair. So, you have to take that into consideration and not be so, you know, hard on other women or men who may do things a little differently than you would do it. There's a whole lot of variables that come into play. But anyways, I just wanted to speak on that a little bit because I noticed that it was this weird dynamic I was noticing among the lock community, and I just wanted to put my 2 cents in because I've been natural now for since 2011, so it's been a minute, and I know that there are some things that I could carry over into my lock journey when I was a loose natural, and then some things I couldn't because it is different. It's compacted hair, it's spherical in shape, so it's not going to be exactly the same as I was when I was a loose natural. But there are some certain things and elements that I did, back in 2011 that I can still carry over now into my lock journey. So all in all, just keep an open mind about things and, don't look at this as a hard set rule. The only hard set rule as far as your hair goes is knowing your own hair. Know what your hair likes, know what it doesn't like. Keep an open mind about things. Try different products, try different things to see if it'll work for you. If it doesn't, leave it alone. It's as simple as that. There's nothing to be, upset about or angry about just because somebody else can use something you can't use. I mean, there are a lot of things out there that you can try that will work for your hair. And the things that don't work, just leave it alone. It's really not that deep, But anyways, that's all I really had to say about that. And just to give an update on, my journey and how far it's gone. And, I'll keep you guys posted and just take care and, comment below your thoughts about this whole thing about, rose water and all that nonsense.